Are you a current or future physician assistant wanting to learn more about finances? Then join me on this journey to become a PA the FI way. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm a practicing certified physician assistant who will be your host. It took me 5 years after I started practicing medicine as a PA to thoroughly dive into my personal finances after I discovered the concept of financial independence. I want to use what I have learned to help you avoid some of the financial mistakes that I have made while sharing some of the financial wins that I have had along the way. Join me as we discuss financial strategies to guide you to becoming a physician assistant on the way to financial independence. Welcome back, everyone, to the PA the FIWay podcast. I'm your host, Kat, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to today's episode. I'm a firm believer that the topic of the episode today will be an incredibly important one and resonate with a lot of you. And that topic is how to cope with stress and burnout, and also practical tips that you can implement for stress and burnout into your lives. Before I dive into the show, I want to give an overall update about how AAPA 2024 in Houston went. AAPA conferences are so fun overall. They are incredibly exhausting for me though, because I feel as though I start my mornings so early and then end my evenings so much later than what I'm used to. And throughout the day, I'm jam-packing everything into the day too. So it's really tiring to go to these conferences, but it also really fills me up to be around a lot of PA friends and colleagues and leaders in my state and throughout the country as well. This year's conference looked a lot different for me personally because it was the first time that I was able to speak at AAPA by presenting a CME presentation on the topic of telemedicine, which is a topic that I'm super passionate about. So I really enjoyed it. And even though I was nervous leading up to it, right before the presentation, I had this sense of calm and I was way less nervous than what I thought I was going to be. So I was thankful for that. Also, a couple of really great PA friends that I had met in PA school flew in from other states to support me and to hang out at the conference together. So it was really fun to see them and catch up. Also, pretty last minute, I was asked to help fill in partially as I could throughout HOD, which is House of Delegates, because one of our HOD delegates from our state unfortunately couldn't make it to the conference last minute. So it was my first exposure to HOD at AAPA, and it was very eye-opening to see the process and hear some of the debates happening and the different topics that were being discussed and get a behind-the-scenes view on that as well. I also helped out with a student workshop for the first time this year about the topic of motivational interviewing. And the panel of us was several psych PAs and then also a psychiatrist that flew in from Puerto Rico. And she was such a cool lady because she got her first fellowship in nuclear medicine and then got her second fellowship in psychiatry. And so she says that she starts reading PET scans at 4 a.m. and then will see her psychiatry patients later in the day. And she also has a golden retriever therapy dog, and we have a golden retriever too. So it was just really cool to talk with her a little bit and meet her because she seems like a very ambitious doctor, and it was just really cool to hear her story. Next year's AAPA is going to be in Denver. So I'm really hoping that I can make it to that one because I absolutely love Colorado. It's such a beautiful state. So maybe I'll see some of you there. One of my friends and I were also able to visit the Space Center in Houston. And that was an incredibly unique experience because we did this VIP tour that AAPA had offered as an add-on ticket purchase. So we were able to go into a shuttle and see all the switches and controls. And we were able to see old mission control room, which was the room where the mission control was for the moon landing in 1969. And they also replicated what it looked like for them in that room as well, which was really unique. And then we also got to see modern mission control where they were actively connected to the International Space Station. And there was an astronaut up there working. So we got to see an astronaut live in action, which was a unique experience too. So I'm telling you, between the total solar eclipse last month, the Northern Lights recently, and then being able to visit the Space Center and be able to see Haley Arsenault, the first PA astronaut who is a childhood cancer survivor and works at St. Jude, along with a physician astronaut at AAPA talk during one of the main stage events, I'm getting my full share of space nerdiness that my past young child self who wanted to become an astronaut would be so happy to be experiencing this as well. So I don't know if any of you out there can relate or enjoy some of these experiences as well, but it's just a cool experience, especially in nature, when you're able to see the solar eclipse and the Northern Lights happening as well. All right, let's move on to the topic of today's episode about practical tips for coping with stress and burnout. Most of us working in healthcare can experience burnout at some point throughout our career, but if you never experience burnout, you at least quite often experience stress while at work, or stress at home, or even stress when you are trying to relax on a trip or vacation. So this episode was inspired by a recent report by Medscape, and the report was actually about physicians. It was Physician Burnout and Depression Report, and that report talked about the different coping mechanisms that doctors use for burnout. They were allowed to select more than one coping mechanism. So that is why these percentages don't add up to 100%. The top 5 coping mechanisms were really great ones. And then after that, we start getting into some coping mechanisms that aren't that great. So for example, the first coping mechanism that doctors use for burnout is exercise, and 52% shared that they utilize that form of coping mechanism. Then 49% said that they talk with family and friends when they're burnt out, and 41% said that they sleep or try to prioritize sleep more. 39% said that they spend time alone, and 37% said that they play music or listen to music to help cope with burnout. Well, after that, that's when we get into some of the maybe not optimal ways for coping with burnout. And the 6th most common one was to eat junk food, and a third of physicians said that they do that. Then 24% said that they drink alcohol to help cope with burnout. Then 23% for the next one, it's back to a better coping strategy of meditating or trying to have other stress reduction techniques. Then 21% said that they binge eat. 3% use prescription drugs. 2% will smoke or use nicotine products to help cope with their burnout. 2% said that they use cannabis products. 10% say they do other, and I don't have specifics on what other is. And then 2% say they do absolutely nothing to help cope with their burnout. I completely understand and recognize that burnout is different from stress, which is also different from anxiety or depression symptoms, right? However, they often can occur together, or some can lead to the other, right? So some of these terms might be used interchangeably during this discussion, but there can be some overlap. So I just wanted to clarify that a bit. But I thought that that report was incredibly interesting to hear, where it sounds like several physicians have pretty good strategies for coping with burnout, or maybe they do some good strategies for burnout, but then again, since they could select others, maybe they also do some poor coping strategies as well. So that information got me to thinking that this topic would be very likely a helpful one for you to start having you think about what are those coping strategies that you do, whether it is true full-blown burnout or whether it's just a lot of stress. I say the word just kind of loosely because stress can still not feel great, right? Or whether it's anxiety or whether it's depression. What are those coping strategies that you are currently using? I encourage you to think about the top 3 to 5 coping strategies that you're doing at this time. Be honest with yourself. Don't think about what you would ideally like to do for a coping strategy, but what are you currently doing? And as you're making that list, It's not to make you feel ashamed or judge yourself. It's so that you're open and honest with yourself so you can identify areas that you might want to make possible changes in. Let's first talk about burnout in general, where the stress has gotten so bad that you are portraying some of the symptoms of burnout, such as emotional exhaustion, which is feeling absolutely drained and that you're feeling like you can't cope with your job. Depersonalization, where you're starting to have a cynical attitude towards your patients or your coworkers or your work in general. Or are you having decreased productivity, not performing well? If you are feeling burned out, it's very true that there are some potential environmental things that could change, right? So are there different things that you can do with your workplace in the sense of trying to decrease your workload by talking to your supervisors? Are there different things that you can do to take work off of your plate and delegate to others and train them, such as your MAs or nurses if you work with them or other team members? Is there a way that your workplace could help with the overall culture and create a better work environment to help with overall employee well-being? Could you and your colleagues be more open and communicate more and help support each other a little bit more? Although there are several things that your workplace can do, burnout is not a you problem, right? It's not because of something that you did or said or you don't know how to do your job well. It really is a systemic issue working in healthcare. However, there are several things that you as an individual can do to help with your burnout. And I'm going to talk about some of those coping strategies for burnout and stress in a moment. But I also want to share that sometimes if you're really burnt out, you might need to seek professional help. And that might look like different types of therapy or counseling sessions, or potentially even group therapies, support group. Some organizations offer employee assistant programs called EAPs, where they can help you with counseling or therapy or get you connected quickly for those types of things. And again, if your burnout is to the extreme of actually developing anxiety and or depression symptoms that are persisting, then it's possible that you might want to discuss medication with your PCP or your psychiatry provider and get a little bit higher level of care if needed as well. Before I review some quick practical tips that you can do to reduce your stress and burnout, let's talk about overall lifestyle adjustments that you can prioritize. And again, working in healthcare, you very likely know many of these, but it's essential to prioritize things like regular exercise. Any form of movement or exercise that you enjoy doing is excellent for your physical health and your mental health. Having a nutritious and balanced diet overall, lots of veggies and fruit, proteins, healthy fats, and trying to limit sugar, junk food, alcohol, excessive caffeine. Prioritize your sleep. If you need to develop a sleep routine to help you fall asleep more quickly, so your body understands that it's time to go to bed and shut down, you might need to work on that. And then prioritize social support as well with your friends, family, loved ones, colleagues that you trust, former PA school friends. Having those conversations and sharing about your experiences and feelings can be helpful as well. And then let's talk about some long-term strategies to help lessen your burnout and stress overall. One is time management. You can work on things like time blocking, meaning that you literally schedule a block of time on your schedule to work on different tasks. You can use things like your calendar or planner. You can set timers as you're working on different tasks as well. For example, you can set your timer for 25 minutes and then after the timer goes off, take a 5-minute rest and then reevaluate if you're going to work for another 25-minute segment. Another long-term strategy is to set boundaries, and this one is so crucial, yet so hard to do. Many of us working in healthcare are people pleasers, and when you say yes to everything, then you essentially are saying no to a lot of the things that you really value and add joy to your life and what you actually need. Another long-term strategy is to develop hobbies and interests and engage in them as well outside of medicine. So whether you like to read or garden, play music, go fishing, play a sport, Any of those are really great to do and help lessen your stress overall. You could also do different personal development activities like setting goals for yourself, but making sure that they're realistic, learning new skills, and trying to reflect on your life overall to make sure that it's really aligning with the life that you are wanting to live. All right, so next, let's shift to some of these practical and quick coping strategies that you can implement right now, right where you are at, whether you are listening to this driving home in your car, whether you are at home working on chores, whether you're on your break at work, and you can do some of these at work for as little as 1 minute up to 10 minutes, or you can try to implement some of these throughout your day as well. And these are going to be broken out into 4 different groups. The first group consists of quick mindset shifts. So when you are feeling stressed, you can try to change your mindset quickly. Some people like to do things like positive affirmations, where you are doing a pep talk to yourself, where you're saying something good about yourself, reflecting back on something good that you've done. You could also reframe your thoughts, meaning that when you notice a negative thought coming in, that you reframe it or change it and ask yourself, is it really true? And reframe it into a positive thought or a neutral thought. The next group is social and environmental techniques. So socially, you can talk to someone, whether again, it's a colleague or friend or family member. You can also socialize with pets, whether you have your own pet, whether there is a therapy pet at your clinic or hospital. In the expo center at AAPA, they actually had pets that came in. There were little puppies that came in for essentially some animal therapy, where you could stop by and say hi to them and pet them if you wanted. Another way that you could change your environment would be to declutter an area that is messy, because that mess can often make your mind feel messy as well. So if there's a small area that needs to be decluttered, like part of your desk or an area in your room, you could work on that, and that can help you feel lighter overall. I encourage you, if you're feeling stressed, to not take on a whole giant project of decluttering, such as a whole room or your attic or your garage or things like that. Or if you do decide to do that, to break it up into small increment, maybe again, set a timer for like 10 minutes and work on it. And then you can also change your environment by literally going outside or going to a different space, different room of the house or different room of the clinic or hospital. The third group for these practical tips is quick relaxation techniques. These different techniques could be as simple as going for a walk that is mindful, where you are trying to pay attention to your surroundings and in nature. Look at the different things around you, listen to the different sounds that you're hearing. It could be as simple as taking a warm cup of tea and enjoying that slowly. Maybe you're even coupling that with journaling, writing out how you're feeling or some of your thoughts, or even reading a book as well. You could do a grounding technique, and these types of grounding exercises or techniques I like to share with my patients that are incredibly anxious, especially if they tend to have panic attacks. But these could be helpful for you to help bring yourself back to the present, especially if you're having racing thoughts and feeling overwhelmed. The first is that you could pick either your favorite color or more of a unique color and look around the room and try to spot all of those different things that are that color. That helps ground you and bring you back to the present. Another grounding exercise is working through your different senses. So for example, you start with the things that you can see and you count down with 5 fingers on one hand. So focus on 5 things that you see around you. Then the next one is touch, is for 4. So reach out and touch 4 things around you, whether it's a smooth surface, a soft, gentle blanket, scratchy sandpaper. Any of those things can help bring you back to the present as well. 3 is for 3 things that you can hear. Try to listen around you, see if there's background music, a patient coughing next door, any different types of sounds that you hear. 2 are things that you can smell. Maybe you can smell a cup of coffee, or hopefully you're not smelling too bad of odors at the hospital. And then 1 thing that you can taste. So is it that you have a beverage on hand or a mint or piece of gum or something like that? All of those different things can help ground you back to the present. And then this fourth group, I feel like is one of the more practical and quick things that you can implement to help you feel better, whether it's on the job or whether it's at home and you need to implement something quickly to help you cope. And this fourth group consists of quick stress relief techniques. So the first is deep breathing. We are not great at breathing deeply. We all breathe very shallowly, but you can either simply breathe deeply and exhale slowly, or you could do things like box breathing, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold your breath out for 4 seconds, and then repeat. And repeating that for about a minute or two can be really helpful. Another thing you can do is progressive muscle relaxation. And this is, again, a very interesting relaxation technique that can help a lot of my patients with anxiety, especially if they're having trouble with anxiety before bed and they are already in bed and feeling anxious, but just feeling like they can't relax their body. But you can do this even standing up. And again, even if your anxiety is not through the roof, even when you're feeling stressed, this can help you feel a bit better. But you actually start from your feet and work your way up towards your head. And what you do is you tense the muscle group. So let's start with your feet, for example. Tense your feet up. So try to bend your feet, curl them up with the arch, and hold it for a few seconds, and then release it. And then work your way up to your lower legs, so your calf muscles, then your quads as well. And then work your way to your buttocks, your belly, your chest, your hands, arms, shoulders, neck, and then even your head, including like your forehead as well. And then you tense those muscle groups, hold it, and then you release. And when you release, then you can often feel your muscles feel less tense and more relaxed and can help you, again, if you're trying to fall asleep a little bit more quickly. But again, you can do this during your workday as well. You could also try other mindfulness practices such as meditation. There are different apps such as Calm or Headspace. If you'd like to try an app, you can follow along on YouTube for different meditations. Along with meditating, some people like to use visualization. So you can close your eyes and visualize a very peaceful scenery, whether it's a place they have been or whether it's a place you've seen on TV. And that can help you be relaxed as well. When you are feeling stressed, you can do physical activity right then and there in the moment to help you feel a little bit better. So you can do a really quick walk, whether it's just getting up from your desk, walking down the hall, doing a loop around the clinic and back, whether it's walking outside, that can be really helpful for people, or whether you're doing bursts of exercise, more so like jumping jacks or squats, or even stretching or yoga can be really calming as well. You can listen to music. Music can be relaxing if you want to have calming music on, or if you are wanting more upbeat music, that could also help lessen your stress level overall. Some people find that aromatherapy can be helpful. Different essential oils like lavender can be really calming for people. And again, whether it's the physical essential oil of lavender that you have a few drops on your pillow or diffuser jewelry like the bracelets or necklaces that they make, or whether it's a lavender scented candle or lavender shower steamers or bath bombs, those types of scents can be calming and relaxing for people. Laughter can really help with your stress too. So if there is a work colleague that's pretty funny, or maybe you have a patient on your schedule that you enjoy having some friendly banter with, or if you have a video that you like to watch that's funny, maybe of your niece or nephew, that can help you feel less stressed overall as well. Also ask yourself, when was the last time you ate? Have you had a meal or a snack recently? When was the last time you had some water? If it's been a while for either of those, go ahead and drink some water and eat a snack with protein like nuts to try to help with your stress and make you less hangry overall. And a really quick thing that you can do to help with your stress too is to practice gratitude. And with gratitude practice, it can be as simple as writing out 3 things that you are thankful for. If you don't have time to jot those down on a piece of paper or a journal, you can mentally think about the 3 things that you're grateful for as well. And these things that you're grateful for can be very small and simple things, or they can be bigger picture things as well. But that constant practice of reminding yourself the things in life that you have that you can be grateful for really helps lessen your stress overall. All right, so that is what I have for you for today's episode, where different coping strategies for burnout and stress were discussed, especially the most recent information in regards to the practical ones that you can implement day to day on your job or at home. I truly hope that you found this information helpful for you. And if you have, it would be awesome if you were to go ahead and share it with a friend or a colleague or a coworker as well to help pass along the information, because I am sure that the majority of healthcare workers feel at least stressed at some point throughout their career, but unfortunately also suffer from burnout periodically as well. Thank you so much for taking a listen, and I'll see you back here soon. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you decide to continue to join me along this journey of becoming a PA the FI way. Please take a moment to press the subscribe button on the platform that you are listening to this on, but more importantly, consider sharing with another current or future PA that could benefit from the information that we reviewed in this episode. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Until next time.